Alright, this is Adeolua, and it's Musings of a Sanguine Christian Woman. And there are quite a few things on my mind that I like to share. And I'd just like to say for now that it's important that we know ourselves as individuals, that we get to feel our own rhythm, understand our own rhythm, know what our language is, know what the language of our soul is, know ourselves, feel our own vibe, fine-tune what needs to be fine-tuned. Sometimes our life is like music, and you may just need to keep singing until you gain a certain level of mastery or perfection, whichever comes first. And like a musical instrument as well, once you get a hang on it, you keep on playing, and as you're playing, inspiration comes, and then you just begin to find expression, unique expression in the instrument you play and the songs you sing. As you're singing, sometimes it just comes to your mind that why don't you take it high? Why don't you add lip here? Why don't you take it low? Sometimes some words come in and you just add that to it. You don't keep quiet because you don't know how to sing. Now, it doesn't mean you don't know how to sing, but that's how you think. You think you don't know how to sing. You don't just keep quiet because of that. It's the same way you don't silence yourself because you feel you don't know how to live. Knowing how to live is a practice. You have to be willing to live for you to know how to live. You also have to be willing to learn and to unlearn. And that takes humility, commitment to being flexible, but at the same time have bottom lines, have boundaries that you will not cross. There are truths that are universal, that are basic. We may try to sweep them under the carpet and say, who determines what's the truth? Your conscience, assuming you haven't killed it, that's what determines what the truth is. And of course, when you listen to other people speak, your conscience either bears witness to what is being said, or your conscience rejects it. Sometimes I wonder when we say, but who decides what is the truth? The question I ask is, who decided what you should follow? Why you should follow it? Who decided that you're going to speak the language you're going to speak? Okay, you say you decided that. How? Why? Why not something else? If nothing is wrong with others, Why stick with this? What is your reason? You have to understand it's important that you don't just become this obtuse person that just sticks to something just to be offensive. Because at the end of the day, this affects you. You have to look at yourself and think that, why am I doing this? You don't have to wait for someone to ask you that. That's something you need to know. Why am I doing these things? Why do I react this way? Sometimes you realize that it's because you're unhealthy. That is why you react a certain way. Either psychologically unhealthy or spiritually unhealthy. And speaking of health, I think spiritual health is very important. It's important that we embrace spiritual health. And how do you embrace spiritual health? It comes from within, really. It starts with the conscience. It starts with meditation, asking questions. Who am I? Where did I come from? What is my source? What makes a soul? What makes a spirit? These are things that you constantly ask yourself. And even for those who have attained a consciousness in their spirit, it's a question they still ask. As a Christian, I still ask that question. Like, who am I? Because sometimes I face a situation or I'm just somewhere and I'm thinking, so what am I going to do with myself now? It doesn't mean you don't have things to do. It doesn't mean, but sometimes you just feel that way, and it's okay to ask questions. The thing about life is a teacher in many ways. And the ability to carry the mindset of a student at all times makes life relatively easier for you. Unlike when you try to do life like you know it all, or that you know something, you'll be amazed at the depth of what you don't know, especially about yourself. I mean, haven't you surprised yourself either positively or negatively? See, life has taught you that you can indeed do some things you didn't think you could do, either for better or for worse. A lot is going on out there. It's a noisy world right now. A very noisy world. But I guess it can also be a very quiet world. It depends on how you tune in to the world around you and how you tune into the world within you. And for you to have a world within you, you have to create it. You have to order it. Let there be order in your life. It might be a long journey, but that gives you hope, at least, that you have things to do for the next several years to come. And another thing is, as much as perfection, mastery, stability are the goals, it is important that you give yourself grace, not spoil yourself to the point where you think everything you do is okay because you like it. No. But also not to the point where you think that because things are not going a certain way, because you did not get it right this time, or you haven't been getting it right, that and then you begin to think negative things about yourself. Don't. Just see it as you making the effort. At least you're making the effort to live. You're making the effort to thrive. Yes, it's a struggle, but you're at least trying. And it's important that your alone time is something that you cherish. Don't take that for granted. I would just say, well, I'll just quote the scripture that they that know their God, they shall be strong and they shall do exploit. Guard your hearts diligently, for out of it are the issues of life. Whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, you are your brother and sister's keeper. So show love just because. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Shalom.